Hello, my dear students. I hope you are all ready to learn the next lesson in Science Part 1. Today we will be doing Chapter 2 of Science Part 1, titled Classification of Elements. Now, this is a very, I won't say very easy lesson, but I can promise you that it is a very interesting lesson if you really ask me. And this is one of my most favorite lessons in Science Part 1. One of my most favorite lessons. Actually, I love Science Part 1 more than Science Part 2, simply because there are a lot of concepts in Science Part 1, and I feel it is more closely related to our daily life. And so let's begin this lesson. I hope you're all ready. So I wish you all a happy learning. I'm going to teach you today through Zoom, simply because in PowerPoint, if I'm teaching through PowerPoint, like I taught you chapter number 3, chemical reaction equations, you cannot, in PowerPoint, you cannot go backwards when you're recording the session. You can only go forward. But here I need to go back and forth so that I can show you the concepts, teach you the concepts clearly. Okay, so so without much ado, let's begin with the lesson. So I'm going to share my screen with you. There it is. So there you are, Science Part 1. So I hope you all, I'll request you all to remove your, I hope your textbooks are with you. In case you don't have a textbook, just pause and bring your science textbook and open to page number 16 of Science Part 1. So first and foremost, I want to ask you is, we need to know why this chapter title is periodic classification elements. First and foremost, the question is, why do we need to classify elements, or why do we classify anything in this world, or any objects? Why do we classify objects in this world? Now, why? Now, how do we class? First of all, what is classification? Now, classification is nothing but the grouping of objects, okay, on the basis of their similarities and differences. So objects which are similar, I didn't say same. No two things are exactly the same. I mean similarities. Okay. So classification is nothing but the grouping of objects. You put them into different groups on the basis of similarities and differences. Now, what things which are similar, we put them in the same group, but things which are different, we put them in different groups. So that is what is I call by classification. Now, why do we classify? We classify, one of the main purposes of classification is, the objectives are, is to study things in a better way. Okay, that's why we in 9th standard we learned about classification of plants, and this year you'll be learning about, you already learned, Lynette Miss has taught you classification animals. So we classify plants, animals, different things, simply because, first and foremost, because so that we can study them better. And not only that, and more more essentially is that new things are discovered every day. Like new plants are discovered every day, new animals are discovered every day. There is a lot of things to be yet discovered. So what happens, so whenever new thing is discovered, new plant or new animal or something is discovered, we can put them in the right group, in the right thing. Okay, so that is the reason. That's, and so also during those early days when the elements were being discovered, the scientists thought, they thought that it is essential to classify the elements in proper groups so that they can study them better. And those elements were discovered much more than today. So as new elements were discovered, they wanted to put them in the right groups so that they can study them better and they can get a proper place in the proper groups. I hope I'm clear. So let's begin with this lesson now. So having understood what is classification and why do we classify, let's begin with the lesson. Now many scientists, they tried their hand at classifying elements. They tried to classify elements. Now we cannot study them all, but we'll study a few important scientists who really did a good job at it, but not all of them were successful. So we learn some of these scientists. So we go on to the first scientist who tried classifying the elements during his time.